So this unit is on non-renewable energy, and I'm gonna break it up into two tests. We're gonna cover 2 types in the first test, and then 2 types in the second test. And then the last thing, most likely seniors are gonna do is renewable energy, okay? So for starters, I want you to tell me what are the 4 types of non-renewable energy, and I put pictures for you. Non-renewable, it's not a shell, it's a prop one. Look at the pictures. Coal, good. The bottom one on the truck is coal. Oil or petroleum is actually first. Before I even name them, I want you to know that non-renewable means will run out. And what I mean by that is, whatever we use, once you use it, it can no longer be used to perform the same work. So it'll take millions and millions of years, if anything, for it to regenerate. So when you consider this resource, you have to realize that what we use is non-replaceable. So again, we have petroleum. Anybody know what that one is? The green one with the little nuclear? Okay. Then coal, and natural gas.
So it's natural and coal.
Natural gas and then coal. So the first 2 that we're going to cover for this unit is coal and natural gas. And then we're going to cover petroleum and nuclear together. All right, so a big focus of this unit is what do we use energy for? So what are the answers? Cars, we call that transportation. And food, that's a big chunk, but industry is actually even bigger. No, food production. U.S. energy. So the U.S. uses energy to make products. That's what industry means. Transportation, which could be cars, planes, buses. What else? What do you use energy for in your home? To produce electricity. So in your home, it's electricity. And you could just put residential and industry electricity. Residential and commercial. So you don't have to know percentages. Just put industry as your first, transportation as your second, and your third is electricity production, which takes place in homes and businesses. So here's a breakdown of industry, transportation, and electricity production. And the green, the white, and the blue are specific to fossil fuels. So let's look at the first one. Let's look at transportation, which is almost all green. The little top part is white. What do you think which fossil fuel is mainly used for transportation? Which fossil fuel? What? Petroleum. So petroleum's main use is for transportation. That's what you should write down in your notes. Petroleum's main use is for transportation. What's its second use? It would be white. What's white? Or I shouldn't say what's its second use. What is white? No, we're talking about fossil fuels. What are they? What are the 3 fossil fuels? Petroleum, coal, nuclear is not a fossil fuel, but it's a non-renewable. So we got petroleum, coal, which is the one that's missing? Natural gas. So now let's look at electricity production, which is blue. Which one do you think is mainly linked to electricity production? What does FPL use? Nuclear, but what fossil fuel? Coal. So the white is going to be natural gas and the blue is going to be coal. So now I'm going to break it down for you. If white is natural gas, looking at that graph, what is natural gas main use? Industry. So natural gas is mainly used to manufacture goods. What's natural gas second use? Electricity. So number 1 is industry, number 2 is electricity. Let's go back to petroleum. What's petroleum's first use? What's its second? Industry. Okay? So you have to know the first 2 for each. Coal's main use? Electricity. Second use? Industry. So it goes back to the last slide. All my fossil fuels are used in the industry. Fossil fuels are non-renewable, okay? So that means when we use them, they run out. So how did they get here is what the next slide is. How did it form? And the first one I'm going to talk about is coal. So this whole focus now is coal, then natural gas, okay? So coal, 300 million years ago, and watch what I say, and then I'll tell you what to write, okay? There were these giant plants and animals, and they died in like a swampy area. And then they were subjected they were buried deep, okay? So they died, they got buried over time. And then they were subjected to high amounts of heat and pressure, and they fossilized. Why doesn't this happen today? Who could tell me? What happens when you die? What? You decay. What does that mean? You break apart, and where does your particles go? They spread out. It's your Chan PS. So this miracle of organisms dying and getting buried and not decomposing and then getting subjected to heat and pressure and fossilizing is very rare. And that's why they say the chance of it happening again is rare. Okay? So for your notes, a long time ago, giant plants and animals in swamps died, were buried, and subjected to heat and pressure. And it turned into coal. So coal has stages. The stages are going to determine its usefulness. Pre-stage is really not necessarily the first stage of coal, but it is a form of it. It's called peat. Think of P for pre-stage, P for peat. The first stage is when this remainder of living thing got buried and subjected to heat. So peat can actually still form today. It's very common. The first, second, and third stage of coal is what you don't really see. The first stage is called lignite. The second stage is called bituminous. You don't have to know the sub. And the third stage is called anthracite. Now, ACT. So you look at the diagram and you see life, and then you start seeing the darker color showing like decay or death in a sense. You see the plant remains getting buried, and the arrows indicate by color heat. So as time passed, if I ask you a question just based on this diagram, which do you think has the highest heat content? What's your answer? The last one. It takes all those stages of coal to get the best quality of coal, okay? And so over time, that's where you get the best quality. And let's see where we are here. There's another diagram showing you contents of coal, and I'm going to stop here.